Next, we have the City Council Open Forum. And before we go into open forum, I'd like to make a few comments. Our open forum is here for the citizens of Willmar to freely approach the council and discuss things going on in our community. It's a valued service that we give to our citizens, and it's something that the council doesn't take lightly. We value the input that you share with us, and I try to remain as neutral as I can, and at times people say I'm not quite as neutral as I think I am. So my intent is to be neutral during this time. But our open forum is here so the public has the opportunity to speak to the council about Willmar issues and Willmar concerns. When you do approach the council, please be respectful and decent when making your comments. I think that's something we can ask of you. I know each of you know what that means to be respectful and decent. So with that, we'll go to the open forum. 2 weeks ago, I adjusted from the sign-up list and moved names up and down. That will not be my practice in the future. I will take from the top of the list and go down. If you wish not to speak, you'll be passed over, and we'll go to the next individual on the list. So I'm going to have trouble with names tonight, so I apologize ahead of time, and I might just kind of like shorten some of those up. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for the council for having the open forum. Again, our council will not respond back to you. We ask you to address the council table. Do not address people in the audience. Your comments are to the council. So first we have Hamdi. And please state your name, address, and phone number for the record. You want to pull the mic down?
Yeah.
Thank you.
My name is Hamdi Kosar. My phone number is 1 Minnesota, I guess. Yeah.
Thank you.
Like I said, my name is Hamdi. I am the first generation author. I would like to say that in terms of when people talk about immigrant not doing that much and just taking things away from them, such as taking the downtown, taking a miracle, you know. And I think as a growing up here, I came here when I was 12 years old. And the first state that we came was Arizona. And it wasn't that much of diverse. I was the only Somali covered girl in that school, which was hard for me to adopt and make new friends. Even though there was a couple Hispanic students and Black African students too. And the first day when I came to the school, the teacher asked, who is going to sit with Hamdi, right? And the first person that raised their hand was one girl her background was African American. And at that time, I didn't know, right? I was 6th grade. But then when I was sitting down, she said, finally, someone that looked like us. So I did not get that comment back then. But when I look at it, she must have thought that, you know, we were same culture. Just, you know, I was just covering up. Even though they made me feel comfortable coming to a new country, I do appreciate them for, you know, what they have done, showing me to the class, you know, showing me that, you know, that I'm not different from them. But as we moved from Arizona, we came to different communities and different counties, such as Faribault. And when I came to Faribault, there was not that much diverse too. There was so much hate between students. You know, comments were made about go back to your country, you don't belong here. When you make that comment to someone that's coming now, what are you gonna, you know, what are your thoughts that person will end up in the future? And I think the comments are coming from what kids hear from parents. right? If you're talking about the whole time 24-hour, you know, how black are different from white, then I think the kids will adapt and take that to the school. And it was really hard for me to go to school. Every day I was actually, every day I was actually told to go back to your country, you don't belong here. So I wanted to...
Thank you for your comments.
Okay.
Thank you. I neglected to say you have 3 minutes and the timer is off to your side, so I apologize for that. Next, Shafia. Like I said, I was going to have trouble with names tonight, so. And again, name and address and phone number for the record, please.
My name is Shafia Abdullahi. My address. Do I really have to give up my phone number?
Yes, you do. Well, you don't need to know. We have it for the record.
Okay, awesome. Good evening, everybody. My name is Shafia Abdullahi. I reside at... Most of you has heard or seen the City Council meeting last week video circulating on the social media, and I was shocked to hear a comment that was made about the Somali community, sentimental shared by many of our Willmar community. Let me address some of the misconception in surrounding immigrants. Are immigrants burden, draining resources, or contributing to the economy? I have 2 jobs and I'm a single mother. Contrary to some, I'm not the exception of the majority of Somalians working long hours to provide for their families, own their businesses, and work at a professional setting. Without a doubt, we are an asset to Willmar's thriving economy. Case in point, take a walk in Willmar community and you will see many businesses owned by Somali entrepreneurs and other minorities. This beautiful country was built by immigrants searching for better lives and escaping from religion persecutions. Our search for better life is not different from any of our founding fathers, and we respect the rules of the law as any of other American citizens. We can't allow for Willmar to be a fertile ground for hate and division. It is time for our community to unite against any bigotry and speeches filled with hate. Let's understand and learn from each other and celebrate our differences. I understand the fear of the unknown and the changes surrounding the Willmar area, but that's what makes us unique by having rich, diverse community. We are different, and we cannot be divided. As we are fighting the same battle in terms of providing for our families and raising our children in a safe environment. Let's fight the misconception and fear with dialogue, mutual understanding, and respecting others' values. I wanted to share a quote from Dr. King. I refuse to accept the view that mankind is so tragically bound to the startless midnight of racism and war that bright daybreak of peace and brotherhood can never become a reality. I believe in unarmed truth and unconditional love will have the final word. So my last comment would be for you, sir. Liking or reposting comments filled with hatred is basically supporting the ideology. I'm a firm believer of our First Amendment, or one of our amendments of freedom of speech, but that comes with responsibilities when you are a public servant. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your comments. Ahmed. I know I really killed your name. Name and address, please.
Yeah, my address is, first of all, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed. First of all, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, and members of the community, good evening. The first thing I would like to address is, first of all, safety issues when you're driving the roads. Some of the times you will see some intersections that don't have stop signs. So that's one thing. The second thing is, do you have a policy in place when someone, let's say for example, likes a page that is full of bigotry or maybe sometimes very discriminatory? So if a council member does that, what is the policy in place? That is one of the things I would like to say. And the other thing I would like to use my 3 minutes for very effectively is, it's very irresponsible and very demeaning and embarrassing for a leader some of the times to use, or maybe some of the times to encourage any any bigotry or discriminatory things. Because even me, as I'm not a leader, I'm not a leader, as you can see. But some of the times, if you are a leader, everything, your private life and your public life matters, and everything you do is you're very accountable for that. So some people would say that Mr. Christensen doesn't encourage racism, or he doesn't allow those kind of values. But if you like a page of someone who does that, you have the same value and the same thing with the person who posts that thing. So, or any type of bigoted or discriminatory post, that it reveals the true nature and beliefs of the individual who likes it and the individual who posts it. So, the U.S. has always been a nation of immigrants, and the Somalis, Hispanics, and all immigrants people are doctors. Some of them are individuals who are teachers, nurses, and executive directors, supervisors, cashiers, policemen and women, and they serve in the military as well as we speak, and they're very active in the military as well. They are dying for the the cause of this country, and they stand with the constitution of this country says. So to say some people they have a low IQ on this kind of things, every community has a very good people and a bad people. So what I want to say is we should have a people and leaders who can stand up for what we believe in as a country. And I think it's very unfortunate some of the times, to go back to the Plessy and Ferguson issues, to go back to the Chinese exclusive acts and all the things, Islamophobia and all those kind of discriminatory issues we are facing. I think it's very unfortunate to go back to those dark history. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your comment. Abdullahi O. Name and address, phone number for the record.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. My name is Abdullahi Olo. Is what I just moved into 2 days ago. So I would like to thank all the council members and the public that are here tonight. And thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity to express ourselves and giving us this forum. I would like to comment to a few things about some of the things that I've touched myself after I have read some of the comments and posts that have been in the social media that the council member Ron Christensen have liked and did not denounce. I'm a father raising 2 kids and expecting a 3rd one, and this is where I would love to see them grow and play and work and have future. And I would not want to see hate triumph over love, but I would rather see the opposite, where love is the place where people, run to and not hate. I don't want that to be definitely an attribute that we could see from a leader in this community. But in the same token, I would like to recognize and acknowledge the great leaders and citizens of this beautiful city. We might have few individuals in this town that may not want to wake up to the reality of some things, but I have to say some of the things that was mentioned in that comment had to do with the immigrants or the Somalis having low IQ. And I asked myself, I thought IQs help with things like memory. So what happens to our memory when it comes to that? Our great-grandpas, for some of you, might have been here as immigrants. Have we forgotten them? These same comments, I would say, would also apply to them. All of us are here by legal means, and we really want to see great leaders respecting all that diversity. But what have our council member Ron Christensen done as a positive engagement towards this community instead? I want to know that. And I would like to thank everybody again. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you for your comments. Ben Larsen. Name and address for the record.
Ben Larsen. So I'm here for a few reasons tonight. My first reason is that I need to ensure that my son, who is Mexican-American, 4 months old, is going to grow up in a city where the leaders don't discriminate against him. My second reason is that I'm disappointed. I'm an optimist. I figured that if I gave Ron a path to reconciliation, that he would take it. I mean, man, all you had to do was say you were sorry. Instead, we get silence for 2 weeks. You say absolutely nothing. And silence to me says a lot. It says that you support racism and Islamophobia in those posts. And that hurts this community. Now as a community, we need to do a few different things. We need to pick up the pieces that Ron has broke, because he fails to acknowledge that he broke those pieces. We do that by taking positive steps forward, and we need to decide how that looks. The second step that I'm seeing tonight is we need to start calling racism and Islamophobia what it is. It should not be in any leaders in this community. And lastly, Ron, you need to resign. When you support bigotry and ignorance and racist lies, they have no part in the city leadership, so please resign. Thanks.
Next, Maria Larsen. Is it Maria Larsen?
All right, so Maria Larsen.
I'm going to pull that down just a little bit. There you go.
Okay, phone number 320. Oh, okay. So I'm Maria Larsen. My message is in regard to Ron Christensen's support of racism. I am a second-generation immigrant. I am Mexican-American, and I've lived in this community my whole life. I am not crime or filth-ridden. I've never committed a crime. I've never even gotten a speeding ticket. I'm not filthy. I have perfectly good hygiene. I've actually never had a cavity myself. So I'm not illiterate, as I have a college degree, and I'm also bilingual. I started my own business at the age of 20, and as far as I know, my IQ is not low. If you support racism and hate, I don't see how you could support my family and other members in this community. So I would ask for your resignation, Mr. Christensen. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Sue Quist.
Mr. Mayor, I hate to interject, and I know I'm not in front of the list. Would it be fair for the council and the other paid members of these staff to give their addresses and their own phone numbers? People are asking other people to.
It's on public record. Sue Quist.
Sue Quist, West Willmar, Minnesota. Everyone living in America, whatever race, religion, sexual identity, income, and social status, should be held accountable to the law of the land, the U.S. Constitution. I understand and appreciate people seeking opportunities for a better life in America, as my mother immigrated from Germany after World War II. So I do empathize with Ben and Maria Larsen's family. No matter what the circumstances that led to the deportation of Maria's dad to Mexico, it must have been very difficult for her family. That being said, I understand, but don't agree with Ben's personal bias. Ben quickly, and it sounds like many of you tonight, judged and called a councilman a racist based on him liking, not commenting on a Facebook. That is ludicrous and slanderous. Perhaps the councilman liked the courage of his constituent, a 90-year-old woman who was bound to a wheelchair who was addressing a controversial issue. Or maybe he liked one statement of her post. The point being, Ben doesn't know, and it was inappropriate for him to condemn a person based on his bias. It is especially disheartening as Ben is on the City of Willmar Human Rights Commission. At the last public forum, Ben wore a T-shirt with the picture of a well-known liberal socialist, Bernie Sanders. With this long-term and revered councilman, Ron Christensen, being recognized and valued as a fiscal and social Christian conservative, is Ben's political and partisan agenda at play here? If so, it is inappropriate, especially since he is a member of the Human Rights Commission. One that is perfectly transparent is Ben's unmerited negative public comments have escalated fear and division in our community, as we've heard tonight. As a legal citizen of the City of Willmar for 38 years and a resident of Ward 2, Precinct 2, with the majority of my neighbors, we elected Ron Christensen as our councilman, and we want him to continue his public service. However, Ben Larsen should immediately resign as a member of the City of Willmar Human Rights Commission, as his judgment is questionable. Thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Thank you for your comments. Next, Doreen Magnussen. I think that's Magnussen.
Excuse me, thank you, Mayor and council members. Excuse me, I'm hoarse. I had the privilege of meeting Ben Larsen
Address, please.
and his wife
Doreen,
a couple weeks ago.
Doreen, could you give us your address, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Doreen Magnussen. And the reason that we met was I went with my sister-in-law. Ron is my brother. I'm the oldest of 7 children. If anybody knows Ron, other than our mother that had passed away, I do. But first of all, I don't know, and if I may turn my head, I don't know really, Ben, what your agenda is. You
Ma'am?
You have talked about your son, and
You have to address the council.
okay, I'm sorry. He had talked about his son, and he also had heard me make a comment about, I know a young boy that got stabbed at the St. Cloud Mall. His comment was, oh, really? And I got to thinking, Ben, and we had a very nice visit. But as I look at the situation of the council and some of the council members, I am watching my brother and his family, an extended family, going through a lot from the last episode that was wrong. Now, I don't know if Ben is in this alone or if he is. I know he's a very strong liberal, because if I ask him a question, he'll always say, what do you think? I watched the council meeting 2 weeks ago, and there were 3 people speaking, an attorney, a retired attorney, a Vietnam vet, and there was another gentleman. And we are from a very large military family. Ron, how many on the panel have served in the military besides my brother Ron? Okay, you have. Okay, congratulations and thank you for your service. My husband gave 7 years. My father gave 4 years. I had 2 uncles that were in World War II and the Korean War. And when I look back at the people who are coming, and God bless them, they need to come. Do they realize the wonderful freedom that we have in our country because of our military people? I do not think we give enough service to our military. We need to say thank you when we run into... When was the last time you people thanked a vet for his service?
Thank you for your comments.
Yes.